Hello, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and welcome back. Here we have Mr. Sholmes in, well, an officer's uniform. So let's get started. As well as I would be, had I not been set upon an errand. What errand? Hurley, it's really you. You're awake at last. Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you would humor me. In what manner, sir? I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over here. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind to spare us that time? What say to you to this, Lord Van Zeeks? This trial has taken many hours of courtroom's time, having spent so long already. Exactly, having spent so long already. We don't want to go another wasting any more precious time. As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would be even churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes. Ah! Very well, counsel, you have 5 minutes. Ah, he changed back into his uniform. My dear fellow, apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you all right now? Ah, all right. I'm all wrong. Sorry? I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I've asked the judge for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me should I pass out. Let's make this discussion as short as possible. Apparently, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is. Ah, well, the concoction of mine was really just a bit of a sport to assist me in my investigation. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community. An oversight on my part. Right, modesty surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you, my dear fellow. What's this? A lavender furoshiki wrapping. A leaving present from Miss Susato. From Miss Susato? If possible, matters were to be settled within me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to hide justice by means both devious and underhanded. And that you, Mr. Naruto, fighting fairly as you are, wont to do it, would find yourself in considerable peril. In that very moment of crisis, you were able to give this small person. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Susato. Whatever could it be? What the heck is that thing? What is this? Oh, it's the machine I made. What is it? It is very much to her style. Oh, I forgot. It was at the very beginning, was it? Yeah, it was. Look, I use this as my latest invention. What is that? I call it the cat flapper-mat. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. Wait, how is this all relevant? What's Susie up to? Miss Susato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night when you left Winterbanks in pursuit of the thieves, Mr. Sato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, my dear fellow? Not all that cryptic then. Susato-san used this cat flap-o-matic that night, but why? Wait, did she make that little door? That means it didn't exist before then. Oh my gosh, that little flap in the door did not exist when they were there. No wonder they didn't notice it. Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already. Man, that feels a bit weird of a fact to know. I'm grateful to you for affording us this brief recess, Mr. Reaper. Indeed, I need no thanks, detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are ununanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder... Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me. I need to be careful here. If I make one wrong move, the whole trial will end badly. My lord, the defense requests... do I need to do summation examination? Let's save up before I make the wrong choice. Let's see. If I do a summation examination, nothing really changes, does it? Maybe if I continue with the... Oh no, my gut's kind of telling me... Continue with the cross-examination. Oh, further cross-examination? I don't know, let me go with this. Let's see what happens. Further cross-examination. The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine any witness now. I know that, but I'm hoping a little, like, different. See? I don't know. The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with the one of an existing witness. What? That's right, we did suspend it. It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. My lord, requesting your lordship permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Thank you, officer. Very well, the cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel? No, my lord. So nobody can say anything then. If Ryunosuke asks to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon, the court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd. I can't remember what voice I was doing for Sholmes. I feel like I haven't seen him in so long. I would remind those present that in this courtroom, I concur that the defense is entirely within rights to request the continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of these proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. The counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness testimony, and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your arguments against it. A single chance to present evidence. This is easy, we got this. If following that, the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to objectification. Is that clear, counsel? You will not press the witness any further. Alright, no pressing. My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's time I fell in a dead faint. He's just gonna pass out right now. I leave this in your capable hands. What was that? He fell so dramatically backwards. Mr. Sholmes! Oh my gosh, that fall was so good. He didn't just like lean back. His arms and limbs literally like spazzed out. To stand so and so silently before the court in a state of such high fever. Either the man has extraordinary strength of mind or an extraordinary lack of feeling. I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down? Why don't you? Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared? Yes, I am. I'm ready to finish this. Yes. One statement, one piece of evidence. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down or Iris. And I won't waste this final chance that Susato has given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial. Very well then, under the terms I have outlined, you may resume the cross-examination. The moment of the shooting again. So while these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance of the shop. I almost decided to press there, and I just remembered I can't press him. When Winterbank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole of the door. Present. Alright, let me examine this really quickly. So this thing has like a little shredder, which makes the peephole and puts in hinges automatically. Can't find anything out of place. Alright. Ooh, those vicious teeth looks like they could rip up almost anything. They're good, aren't they? They're made of special alloy and developed just for this job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second, so we can get through any kind of door in no time. And what are the two parts at the top there? Ah, those are for attaching hinges to the section of the door that gets cut out. Right, of course. Nothing can match this machine for power. It can make mincemeat even the toughest of doors. Sounds so charming and friendly when you say what it's for, but I feel it's like the reality of Cat Flap-O-Matic is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction. What guy saw a door where there's nothing I wouldn't do for him, even developing deadly weapons. Oh my gosh, look at these teeth. Can I say anything else about these teeth? Alright. This is all we need, really.
Objection!
What on earth is that eccentric contraption, Counsel? Oh, it's my Flap-O-Matic, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of the room. It can cut through any door you can think of and make a new little door in the middle of it. That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come out and go as they please. Without the owners, I'm sure we can all work out for ourselves. Ah. That cat lover contrivance has no possible relevance to this case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door. Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand. Perhaps it would help if I describe its function another way, then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all. I beg your pardon, a peephole, you say? 2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Winterbanks had taken place. That's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Sholmes. Yes, the 3 of us were together and it recently come to my attention. Wait, if there was no peephole there, can I look back at one of these photos? Oh gosh. I think if I look back at these... Wait, 1:30 a.m. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there was no people. I never noticed that. Yes, the 3 of us were together and it recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time. Your assistant did what? There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself and in order to look inside, to see inside the locked room. This is ludicrous. What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as much in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime for pity's sake? Alright, I'm sorry if there's like little weird cuts throughout the video just because have like something coming up and getting interrupted. Yes. How could you? What?
Also, kindly say what you mean.
Alright. It's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door, and until such time as she's dead, door had no hole in it to look through. No!
Objection!
This is a farce. Are you really suggesting that the peephole in the door was... Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant using this device. Your assistant tampered with the crime scene whilst being fully aware of the gravity of her actions? That is the most serious act of vandalism. For which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in a few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the skulking brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of the new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes.
Riddled with... Explain yourself, counsel.
The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he has witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom door. Yes, that filthy ghost shooting the man in the back. However, if at the time of the incident, the peephole did not yet exist in the door, there is no possible way that you could have seen what you claim to have seen. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies.
Order! Order! Is there any credence in this revelation?
None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly, this is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. Do you seriously expect people to believe that playing thing can cut through a solid door? Oh yes, I designed it very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors. That's absurd. I don't believe it for a second. I had a feeling you'd say that. What? Waggy, Kui, time for dinner. Oh my gosh, she made one in the courtroom. Where was his cat from? It just came out of nowhere. Well?
Young lady, this is the Old Bailey. One does not make a cat flap in the old oak paneling of the Old Bailey.
I'm not done yet. Don't worry. This doesn't mean the peephole in the storeroom at the door was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was. No, but it's easy. What? The cat flap. My flap-o-mat creates all of a fixed size. And the dimensions of the peephole and window banks are the exact match. Old Silky lost for words. Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. And now it's my learned student's turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your eastern homeland. Well, yes, that's true. Then you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let us assume the peephole has dimensions that are a perfect fit to this contraption. In that case, when was the peephole cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer.
What is the purpose of this line of inquiry, Lord Van Zeeks?
It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the peephole was created after the incident using the device. Now that the perpetrator has returned to her native land, she cannot testify to that fact. There is no proof. Ugh. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the peephole was made, my learned friend's claims amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation.
Indeed, that is. So, Lord Van Zeek's what will counsel?
Don't give up now, Runo. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through. I don't know if I can do this, but I know one thing. Satsu-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world.
Very well, the counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the peephole in the door of Winnipeg's storeroom was created after the events and not before.
Well, I think this photo is going to help us very well.
Take that!
The defense believes this is all the proof the court should need.
Objection!
Oh wait, I need to show the other one. My bad. I need to show the one before that, not the one after. Oops. Let me do that again. Yeah, that was my bad there. I kind of jumped the gun and chose the wrong photo.
Very well, the counsel for defense will present evidence, claim, blah, blah, blah. I am the judge, I talk. Blah, blah, blah.
Alright, I showed the wrong photo. This one already had the cap flap in, which means that doesn't help us in any way. This, though, does not.
Take that!
There we go. Oopsie. What are you? A prince from the Detective Inferno cameras again? My judicial assistant, Mr. Sato Mikitoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had necessary proof.
The necessary proof is this photographic print, counsel.
This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premise. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercilessly wielding a gun in the direction of the defense's broker. But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background.
Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. This really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a peephole of any description.
Mr. Graydon, you couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done, because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies.
Order! Order! I am satisfied that the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness testimony was entirely false.
That's not the only thing we know now, know beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with the crime scene. But more importantly...
Good lord, there's more, Lord Van Zeeks.
The defense may be established a reprehensible instance of perjury. But that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene, it's true. And I was shot in the arm, it's true. But that's all. Yes. In fact, you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. No! I don't believe it. But they're right. As it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit. Still, he can't worm his way out of it now. Iris. You know what they say? There's no point in locking the cat door after the cat has bolted. Isn't that right, Ryuno? As Hurley always says, one lie begets another. No, wait. That might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, but the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? What you said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there's a fundamental consistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
This is provocative talk, counsel. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris is right. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies and the witness's statement. They show that Mr. Graydon had knowledge of something he shouldn't have known anything about. I feel like it's the bloodstains on the coat. I'm gonna say because I honestly am not entirely sure. It could be the third gun also. But I feel like he could play that off still. But I feel like the blood on the coat, that's something. The bloodstains that were present on Mr. Strahd's coat. That's right, the victim's blood splattered all over her when she shot him. But how could you possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it right through the peephole in the... Oh, is he kind of realizing? The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. But let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously Has the cat got your tongue, witness? The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred, and once I returned to the shop after having failed to catch the two burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Windibanks constantly carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson?
Well, yes, of course, The police is chock full of pawned articles, and my lads have to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave an order to have officers working around the clock in shifts so we can get through it all.
Consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the people in the storeroom door, so the fact of its existence forms the basis of your testimony. It's completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that the witness to the crime scene takes place through the peephole in the door.
How on earth is that possible? Could I have a word, please, old Franziques?
Speak, Inspector.
It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, if it's all the same to you.
Permission denied.
Oh.
It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not all. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes.
Of course, sir.
Mr. Graydon, you shouldn't have known about the existence of that peephole. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize I trust that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes, but the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be.
Who is the person in question, counsel?
Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimony. I feel like it has to be the inspector. The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson.
Me?
Objection!
You have better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the facts that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learnt of it only during the course of the trial today.
Indeed, preparations for this testimony were made with great urgency during our hours-long recess, while the police executed the subpoena and brought the man here from the communication station.
And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea, no inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court.
Are you suggesting that until such time he was summoned?
Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the people. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position. That he would have had to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder.
You're suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information? So that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin?
Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson.
This is blooming outrage. Why would I be giving away details of our investigations to this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship chamber during the recess in any case. Had you forgotten? Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbroker.
Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view in the stand where such illicit discussions could possibly have occurred. I mean, there was. They didn't really talk about what it was. Oh, I remember something, Bruno. What is it, Iris? There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Guinea was testifying. Oh yes, now you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve McGilded's box from the scene of the crime. That's it. It was during that testimony. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed.
You little toe rag, you're making this all up. I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I give away confidential details to the likes of this bloke?
Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain, but perhaps it was part of a deal of some sort. Then it starts to make more sense. What deal, counsel? I wonder if perhaps in exchange for details about the people of the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector.
I'm sure I need not remind the inspector I found it to be true. Striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance. Well, I...
Objection!
It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusation is this Nipponese student's specialty. I don't do that. With the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? Just what are you proposing the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal. It's the music disc, isn't it? If Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, then logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it. Bruno, do you think it could be? Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle.
I must press you for an answer now, counsel. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness?
Let me double check now. We have this music disc. It says for McGilded. Is it different from the one that's in here, or is it the same one? I don't know. It looks like the same one. I can't see if there's blood splatter for me to confirm. Let me save up real quick. Because I have two things in mind. It's either the disc, or it's either the unpublished book. Hard for me to say. I'm gonna go with my first feeling, which was the disc. But I can't confidently say I'll be entirely right. Because I'm sure he is a guy who would want this. It might have something to do with the detective, if I'm wrong here. Alright, let's present this.
Take that!
Oh, no music. That means I got it right. Inspector Gregson. Besides this murder, is it not true that you have been working on another very important case?
What are you getting at now, Sunshine?
Alright, I'm gonna have to stop this part here. I kind of lost track of time because I kept getting interrupted and the recording was still doing. So, we'll figure out what it is next time. So thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and until then, I will see you all later. Goodbye.